agriculture and provide students with the opportunity to advance their leadership, personnel, and career skills, especially in the areas of.
We could send somebody on that, like somebody from Bailey Farms.
You know, I actually really considered doing that this summer, but I didn't.
So,
Or last summer.
Maybe one of your brothers will.
Don't you have to be pursuing a career for the next agriculture?
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, who's?
They're
I mean,
not
what's
much
their
of a farm
what's their
family.
majors though? I mean, you know, it's they're part of Bailey Farm. They probably wouldn't want to go if they're not pursuing. So that's the key, I guess.
Cliff would rather play tennis.
Tennis.
Since we have an FFA, or a couple FFA American degree recipients, y'all tell us about that.
It's a very, very long application.
What all do you gotta do?
Literally, you have to write down every record that you've ever kept up with. So-
Ever since you started in FFA, right? That's what you want to go
Yeah,
back
ever,
to.
Ever since we were in 7th grade.
Right. If
I
you
mean-
really do it right, you have to have really good records.
Now, we might not went by the book exactly, but
You don't have to tell. You don't have to tell everything you know.
Okay, well, we were
I
running
put it
out.
this way, everything up there we did.
C or better. We were good there. Invested, yeah, oh yeah, we got everything up there. And you just put all that into, it's on Excel. Was it on Excel? It was on Excel. And if you don't have a number right or something don't match up, it'll show it to you in red, and
A
you
little,
can't print it until it's finished.
little random FFA knowledge for you guys. Dex Vines over here was the last person that Larry Case ever gave an American degree to.
That is true.
How about that?
Because our year was when Alabama was at the very back.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And it's good to be a V.
So James Paul and I had time to walk down the street to Subway and back, eat during the whole reception thing, and I took a nap
And
in my seat.
Yeah, I would have almost just not even worried about being the last one to shake his hand, you know. If it had been the other way, I would have been the first one to shake his hand.
It's true.
Mhm.
Cool, cool.
So I'm a pretty famous person in FFA now.
you are. You'll be.
My picture's on his wall.
I'd say it is.
Probably not. That's what I-
Yeah.
Alright, so what does the American degree do for you?
Provided me with a great sense of accomplishment.
Absolutely.
To be honest with you. I bawled
It was
my
a
eyes
great-
out after I got it.
It was a great release.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Eagle Scout of FFA, right?
Yeah.
The American FFA degree is the Eagle Scout of FFA.
I found out that I gained some weight when I put on my FFA jacket. You know, it'd been like a good 18-month span right there, and I got a little bigger. Figured that out, so I got to Indy.
But I think what you're getting at, Eric, is it lets you run for national FFA officer or be qualified to be a national star in agriculture.
Right. Absolutely. Any of y'all have any aspirations to do that?
We
Or
know
did
what
y'all?
we can.
I was
I
on the
actually
national
ran.
nominating committee.
Yeah, you ran, so,
I didn't make it out of state, but
yeah, it happens.
Who's our candidate this year?
Nobody.
What do you mean nobody?
Will Wright was gonna be the candidate, but he's not. He dropped out.
We had one and he quit.
well,
Anyways,
Maybe we should move along.
I don't know what happened to it. He just quit.
Sarah.
Nobody
Oh,
ran, and
no.
they just, Dr. Parr just, Mr.
Davis.
Davis just told Will he could have it if he wanted it, so he
No.
took it for a little
Oh,
while.
what's her name?
He didn't have any competition.
Sarah Beth Worsham
Worsham?
was gonna do it, but I think she.
'Cause I was on that selection committee, and something happened where I couldn't do it. So I emailed him, told him I wasn't going to be able to make it. So he said, "Don't worry about it." So maybe that's why I only had one person.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Not the interview part.
Yeah. They just didn't have
She
that.
was kind of thrown into it. Anyway.
But that's not really out of the norm, to not
To have
somebody
nobody?
from the state, because when I was on the nominating committee, there was only like 35.
Well, I don't think it's anything out of the norm for some states, but I think it's kind of out of the norm for
Well,
Alabama.
Yeah. It's probably the first time in at least 10 years or
I mean, you won't see Maine
see-
come in with a candidate.
You won't see
Maybe.
California.
No, but New York had a rather strong one.
New York has some good FFA chapters.
Alright, some other awards that we can find on the National FFA website is the HO Sergeant. The overall purpose of this award is to recognize success in achieving and promoting diversity in agriculture education and the FFA.
Let's ask Trent what's interesting about H.O. Sargent.
He was the white co-founder of the New Farmers of America, which was the African-American youth organization equivalent of FFA.
Interesting, huh? You know, if you never saw H.O. Sargent's picture, I guess I always, before, assumed that he was a black guy because he founded the New Farmers of America. It's the black student organization.
It's kind
But he
of
was a
a
white
name
guy.
that would fit a
H.O. or initials, Kendall?
There's a lot of black people whose last name Sargent. That was my
Oh,
Sargent.
Sargent.
I don't know. There's just families in Mapleville. Their last name was Sargent.
Oh,
So it just
I
always
got you.
clicked.
I didn't know that because the only sergeants I know are white people, so I didn't.
The families mixed somewhere along the way, and they make
Well,
Mapleville.
you are from the home of David Crockett.
I am. Do you know that Davy Crockett had 3 years?
What?
Davy Crockett had 3 years.
Of what?
3 years.
He had a right ear, a left ear, and a wild front ear. He was the king of it.
Oh, the good old wild person. Oh, that is awesome. Can you tell us that other joke as well that you set up in the office?
That my 6-year-old daughter told me.
Right.
It's a knock-knock joke. Knock-knock.
Who's that?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting.
Moo.
Gets you every time. Okay. And then we also have more things that we can find on the website, like programs
Let's
like
rev it
Rev It
up.
Up. And it's tools for teachers like SAE handbooks, recruitment information.
Those are great tools. Those handbooks and the tools for teacher. It takes you from, if you want it, I mean, there's thousands of pages. It'll take you from a plan of day 1 through day 180 in the first year and give you examples of things that you might do all along the way. So look that stuff up. That's really good stuff.
Why would you ever make your own lesson plans?
Well, it's not so much lesson plans that it is designing a program. You know, this is what you need to be thinking about. Kind of a scheduling tool. And
You could do
And
a
there's-
lesson, kind of a course content off of it.
yeah, absolutely. And there are some lessons in it too, but I think the value is saying this is what you're going to be facing coming soon.
It
Get
can be
ready.
really intimidating, like going into an ag program and like saying, here it is, and what are you gonna do with it? Because like when I was at Tallahassee, and you get there, and he's like, alright, so what are you gonna start covering? And I'm like,
You're the teacher.
yeah,
Tell
you
me.
tell me. So like, I don't know how y'all's internship's gonna be, but y'all might be put in a spot where he just gives you full control and says, hey, go with it, do what you wanna do what you know. So it was really cool for me getting to see like that this is gonna be my sort of place whenever I take over a program, and I'm gonna be the one that chooses what's gonna happen and what's gonna be going on. So with doing that, you've also gotta have some kind of schedule and know, okay, I might be doing this for a week, but where am I going after that? You can't just all of a sudden, well, I guess we'll cover FFA today, and then maybe tomorrow we might go back into the shop. And you've gotta actually plan it out and say, okay, today we're gonna go over FFA, and then we're gonna go over opening ceremonies, and we're gonna go over the degrees, and go over the different things like the creed, things like that, history, and have it all planned out and know what time it's gonna take up, and then you've gotta be able to go back and document, okay, I thought this was gonna take up this much time, but I really don't know that much about it. So you have to sort of, even after you do the lesson, come back to it and say, okay, well, I'm gonna need to add something in here, or I'm gonna make it shorter. So these things like this right here can sort of help you out and say, here's some of the information that I'm gonna need to know, here's some of the things I can pass on. It also is sort of a way that you can get your POA started up, which we're gonna talk about later. Does anybody know what that is, POA?
Program of activities.
Exactly, so